Hey there, everyone. It's Sean Heides from Hudson Media Group, and this is Hudson County View live on the radio. So, due to some scheduling and technical issues, we are doing this through audio as opposed to our usual video. So, first of all, big thanks to Hudson Media Group for accommodating this. They did a great job on the fly. And also, thank you so much for Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla. Of course, he's a Democratic candidate in the 32nd Legislative District. So I really appreciate you, working with us and being flexible as well. So thanks, everyone, and thank you, Ravi, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it.
Okay. So obviously, Election Day is just 6 days away. And, early voting's already started. You're in a very competitive primary here. You have six candidates that have really done a lot of messaging. A lot of money's been spent. Why do you think you and Katie Brennan are the top Democrats for the nomination in this race?
Well, we think that we're the best suited to serve because we are independent Democrats that are running to make sure that we represent the people in the district. We are not beholden or tied to any special interest groups. We're not beholden or tied to the Hudson County party machine or any other machine. We want to be accountable to the residents of the district. We want to make sure that we serve the residents of the district and the public interest as it relates to these communities in Jersey City and Hoboken.
All right, fair enough. So obviously during your campaign, you've talked a lot about what's been going on in the Mile Square City under your tenure, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you? But, a lot of talk about pushing back against President Donald Trump, a lot of talk about climate change, kind of goes without saying. But I'll ask you anyway, why have you been emphasizing that as a big part of your campaign?
Well, because we live in difficult times. The Trump administration is cutting funding, I know as mayor of Hoboken, in a very direct way to the city of Hoboken. We've lost money for the Hoboken food pantry. We've lost money for the Hoboken homeless shelter. We've lost money for Hoboken Planned Parenthood. We've lost other forms of assistance. Resiliency grants for climate change initiatives have been canceled by the federal government. So we're under assault with respect to many of the basic values and social services that keeps cities like Hoboken strong. We need strong leaders. We need fighters in Trenton who have a proven track record of advocating for communities and for the people of Hoboken and Jersey City, and know how to get things done. I've served as a mayor of Hoboken in my 8th year. Hoboken is a true success story. It's a turnaround city, and it's a model for success on safe streets, on climate change, and it's that type of good government that we want to bring to Trenton to make sure that we can assist these municipalities, whether it's Hoboken or Jersey City, in bringing the type of funding and correcting the problems at the state level to move our communities forward.
All right, point taken. Now, obviously, if you do get elected to serve in Trenton, it's a state level office, of course. It's not a federal level office. So why do you think you could still be effective in pushing back about what's going on in D.C. with that in mind?
Because I have a track record of being effective. We pushed back against the Trump administration when he was first elected in 2016 by declaring Hoboken a fair and welcoming community. And that really changed the identity of Hoboken. I'll tell you a story about a family about 4 or 5 years ago. They visited Hoboken because they heard about Hoboken, and it was a Cuban family from Miami that had a child that was transgender, was not being welcomed by the community in South Florida, Broward County, and heard about Hoboken and the values that we represent. And I'm proud to say that I've kept in touch with that family. They made a decision to move to Hoboken because of our character and who we are as an inclusive community that treats all people equally and with dignity and respect. And it's that kind of track record that makes us proud in Hoboken. We've accomplished a lot, and we want to accomplish more. I'm running for state assembly because, I've seen that when good people get involved to make change, we can have an impact on the lives of everyday people.
Okay. And now, talking about fair and welcoming cities, obviously, it's no secret to you or probably anyone else listening that the city of Hoboken is one of 4 cities being sued by the U.S. Department of Justice over their sanctuary city status. Of course, the Department of Justice is claiming that this is basically improper, illegal, however you want to say it. And they're trying to repeal that status. And obviously, they're trying to do more deportations as they are throughout the country. And when this broke a couple weeks ago, you were pretty adamant that the city's going to win this. Why are you so confident about that?
I'm confident because this issue has been litigated before, and the cities have prevailed. When the president of the United States, Donald Trump, was elected in 2016, he filed a lawsuit against the city of Philadelphia for being a so-called sanctuary jurisdiction. That was defended successfully, not just at the district court level, but the Third Circuit Court of Appeals heard the matter, heard the claims brought by the Trump administration, same claims being brought now, and the city of Philadelphia prevailed. So what we are doing in Hoboken as a fair and welcoming community is consistent not only with the state of New Jersey's Immigrant Trust Directive, but it's also consistent and been with upheld in the courts as being lawful by the Third Circuit Court of Appeals.
Okay, gotcha. And so now getting back toward, like, I guess the dynamics of the race, right? Like, again, you got 3 2-person slates, 6-person race, and the Hudson County Democratic Organization. Of course, anyone who followed last year's congressional race knows they're no fan of yours, and you're no fan of them. Now, again, not exactly breaking news, right? But with that, they have this PAC, at least affiliated PAC called Hudson Votes Project, and they've been going after you pretty hard. They've probably done a dozen mailers, and they've defended this, saying, hey, like, he did have his law license suspended, he did have a city contractor work on his home, and voters deserve to know about that. So what do you think of the substance of what they're putting out there to the voters of this district?
It's a distraction because these party bosses know that they can't control me. So they want to distract voters from the record of accomplishments in Hoboken, the fact that Hoboken is a well-run and successful city, and they spread lies, disparaging lies, mistruths, mischaracterizations, half-truths, and they did it last year too. And in this district, we were successful overwhelmingly. So they can lie all they want. They can spread nonsense and, mailers. But the fact of the matter is that my track record speaks for itself. It's one of success. And that's been shown at the polls, but more importantly, it's been shown in the fact that Hoboken hasn't had a single traffic fatality in 8 years. Serious injuries have gone down 78%. We've been a national model for climate resiliency and climate change. These are the things that matter to people, not the nonsense and dirty, scummy type of negative attack ads that these party bosses put out. And essentially, good government and good results is what's going to prevail this election.
Right. All right. Now, you said there was a lot of lies and mistruths in these mailers, and there's been a lot. There's probably been a dozen. I can't say that I've seen them all if I was taking a wild guess, but the ones I did see had at least some factual basis. So, like, what lies or mistruths have they said?
Well, they've claimed falsely that I've been disbarred. That's a complete lie. They've claimed that something about a contractor working my house. That was vetted by corporation counsel and as well as outside legal counsel, and our business administrator dealt with that contractor. So these are just lies and mistruths, half-truths to try to paint me as someone I'm not. I mean, I'm a member of the community for 25 years. I came here as a bachelor. I got married to my wife. I've got 2 kids in the schools. We're part of the community, and they're just trying to engage in character assassination. This is the type of stuff that Donald Trump does. It's really the lowest form of politics. It's dirty. It's untruthful, and people are going to see through that at the end of the day.
All right, point taken. Now, Mayor, last week I talked to your camp a few times, and ultimately there's a story that a few others have picked up on about these parking tickets. So basically, there's this Hudson County Assistant Counsel, and she is also a former Hoboken Public Defender and a former Hudson County Assistant Prosecutor representing a client who has remained anonymous at this time. And the bottom line is they're accusing you of ticket fixing. So, point blank, has there ever been a time when you were in office where you asked a municipal employee, or you asked someone on your behalf to ask a municipal employee to make a parking ticket go away?
Point blank, no, no, and no. This is such amateurish political politics, I guess you'd call it, where they just literally manufacture a lie because they're desperate, because they know they can't run on the issues, they can't speak about the issues, because corporate interests and big money is in their pockets, because they don't represent the people's interests. So they just make up lies. This is like a flat out lie. So, it's like this 11th hour, desperation attempt by whoever put it out. It's a lawyer who works for Hudson County. Has worked for Hudson County for 9 years. She owes her paychecks to the party bosses. So, they'll spread a lie if they're told to do so. And then, the complainant who's spreading these lies, we don't even know who it is. It's an anonymous person. Like, very convenient for an anonymous person to really say anything. Frankly, it's quite hard to respond to somebody who you don't know who they are. So just more of the same nonsense, but doesn't distract me. We spend hours and hours a day talking to voters, knocking on doors. We're at the ferry terminal, the PATH terminal, the bus stations this morning, greeting voters, getting an overwhelmingly warm response. At the end of the day, that's what matters. People care about results, not this trashy politics.
Okay. Now, another thing, obviously, it's a heavy primary ballot, as you're well aware, and you've come out in support of Hudson County Sheriff Frank Scileri. Why do you think he's worthy of a sixth term?
Because he's got a proven track record of stability, keeping the county safe. I remember when my family was subjected to death threats, when my children were subjected to death threats. Frank was there. Sheriff Scileri was there for my family, made sure that we had the adequate protection when my wife and kids couldn't sleep at night. So he has been there, through thick and thin. He's a man of honor, dignity, and respect. Unfortunately, I can't say that about his opponent, but I can tell you Frank Scileri is a stand-up individual, and we're lucky to have him in Hudson County as our sheriff.
Got it. Now, obviously, at the top of the ticket, you got governor. Who are you voting for and why?
For governor, it's a competitive race. I haven't taken a stand as to who I'm voting for. I don't think my wife even knows who I'm voting for. But I will tell you this: being a mayor is not easy, and being a governor probably is harder than that. And I think being a mayor gives you a certain skill set that suits you well to go into an executive position, leading the state of New Jersey and Trenton. So I'm certainly leaning towards the candidates with that type of experience.
All right, so you like Mayor Fulop and Mayor Baraka.
Yeah, I come from a biased position as a fellow mayor, but I think that serving a city as big as Newark or a city as big as Jersey City for 12 years and having that executive experience would really serve you well in terms of being prepared to run a state as governor. It's a challenging job to run the state of New Jersey as governor. So having that skill set, whether it's Newark or Jersey City, I think would really serve, well in the state house.
Okay, I could see that. So let's talk a little bit of what's going on specifically in the Biosquare City before I let you go here. So, first of all, you guys announced yesterday that you were going to be filing a lawsuit against the Federal Aviation Administration because of all this helicopter traffic, this not essential helicopter travel. So, you got this item on the council agenda tonight. I did catch how much it's for, who it's for, but nonetheless, uh, do you think that I guess I should say, is there any concern that this is going to go through, given that there is a bit of a spending crunch right now?
I think, given the number of residents, like this morning at the bus stops, the number of emails I've gotten, the number of text messages from residents who are so relieved that Hoboken is finally taking action, we would be remiss if the city council were not to, at a minimum, retain outside counsel to look at what remedies the people of Hoboken have to put an end to this nonsense with helicopters constantly flying at low altitudes, disrupting our quality of life, creating air pollution, creating noise pollution, and causing a public safety hazard. If you look at what happened in Jersey City a few weeks ago with a helicopter actually crashing almost on landside. So we need to do this with a sense of urgency. We need to do this now. We need to make sure that the FAA exercises its oversight responsibilities to keep the noise levels under control and really ban any non-essential luxury tourism commercial helicopter traffic coming in from over the heights in Jersey City or Hoboken.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as a Heights resident, I could certainly understand that. So, with that, so how much is that contract, and who is the recommended firm?
We've got given a modest, I believe it's a modest amount of money, several $1,000s to Antonelli Cantor to start investigating claims and prepare a prospective lawsuit.
Okay, gotcha. Now, speaking broadly just about the municipal budget, it's about a 6.9% tax increase. And of course, that's just the preliminary. It could vacillate a little bit, go up or down, of course. I don't know if you recall, Mayor, but about 5 weeks ago, Councilman at Large Joe Quintero was in the studio with me, and we were talking a little bit about how this has been kind of decades in the making. Can't really point fingers at one person, but the bottom line to what his remarks were about on this topic, at least, was he was saying that he thinks that the council probably should have been raising taxes a little higher than what they've been over the past few years, because next year could be a really big increase, somewhere in the double digits. So what do you think about how, not to do revisionist history or whatever, Monday morning quarterback, but how do you think about how this has gone, not just during your tenure, but I don't know, the past 20, 30 years? I mean, what do you think the strategy should have been, could have been, anything like that?
Well, I think the strategy could have been incremental increases adopted by the city council that kept pace with the cost of living, inflation. But what you see is a very substantial tax decrease that got us in a hole at the beginning of the Zimmer administration. And then we've been playing catch up since then. Each year I introduce a budget, which is a proposal, and then each year the city council dips into the surplus in order to or cut services in order to keep taxes at an artificially deflated level. So ultimately, the municipal budget is one of the city council. It's adopted by the city council. It's only proposed by the mayor, but then we have budget hearings. They have the opportunity to introduce amendments, and then the city council creates the budget they wanted. Unfortunately, year after year, the city council has dipped into our surplus to bring us to a point where we have had very low property taxes, But as I think Joe was saying, there is a question as to whether or not over the long term they're sustainable. I think it's a fair policy discussion. I think it's a policy discussion I hope the council will engage in, and I hope they'll be responsible in making sure that we have a budget that is structurally sound and fairly balanced.
All right, yeah, of course. So real quick, Mayor, then I'll let you jump. But obviously, there's a November 4th nonpartisan mayoral race, and that's going to be the candidate to succeed you in office. So who do you like in that race, if anybody, at this point?
I have not taken a position at this point. I'm very focused on my election on June 10th. It's public record that I've had a great partnership with Councilwoman Emily Jabor, who's one of the candidates.
Sure.
I've been able to advance relationships with some of the other current candidates, but I'm trying to make sure that we send a resounding message of victory on June 10th. And when we get past that, I might take a short vacation with family, friends, or really probably just family. And then I'll look at the mayor's race with a fresh pair of eyes and decide whether it's something that's appropriate for me to get involved in, and then if appropriate, to what extent and in what way.
All right, Mayor, thanks a lot. I mean, we appreciate the time very much, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
All right, talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Hudson County View live on the radio. I'm John Hudson, and I'm signing off for the week. We'll catch you next time when we do the Election Day wrap-up.